But what we are seeing is all of the things that Trump is talking about is strengthening the dollar, because dollar inherently is, is seen as a safe haven asset.
Right.
So whenever there is uncertainty, people buy more and more dollar. So this is the trend that we could see. Dollar would in dollar, the value of dollar will increase, and the value of peso or any other currency, including rupee, will, China is the elephant in the room. China is one country that Trump tried to deal with in his first term but couldn't.
Yeah.
There was a tariff war that happened between US and China, but the result of the war, a lot of people a lot of experts say, was not in favor of US.
When Donald Trump first spoke of tariffs and imposing tariffs on his trade allies, everyone thought he was bluffing. But just 2 weeks into the inauguration, and US President Donald Trump has managed to impose 25% tariff on Canada, Mexico, and about 10% tariff on China. To talk about what and why he has chose this time to impose tariffs and what's next, we are joined by Indian Express's principal correspondent, Ravi Dutt Mishra. I am Flora Swai, and you're watching this discussion on the official YouTube channel of the Indian Express. Hi, Ravi.
Hi, Farah.
So, Trump it's just been 2 weeks, exactly 15 days.
Yeah.
And apart from signing a slew of executive orders with respect to the United States, he has managed to trigger the tariff war. Canada and Mexico have sort of retaliated. Why now? I mean, there are 5,000 things that Trump can take care of internally in his own country.
Yes.
But what is the point of waging this trade war with the top three trading allies that the United States has?
Okay, so Trump has always been a fan of tariffs. He thinks that tariff is the solution to bringing back manufacturing jobs, investors, and everything that is wrong with the current situation.
Correct.
But at the moment, he has the political mandate to do it. He tried imposing tariffs on China and a number of countries in his first term. That did not really work out for him. Now he's doubling down. So one of the reasons that Trump has found favors in the Rust Belt, which is Michigan,
Pennsylvania.
and a number of such states, is that those are the areas specifically where job losses happened, manufacturing job losses happened, particularly because of China's imports. So now those are the people who are propping up Trump, and Trump is now pretty much doing what those people want.
So this is all about America first, making America great again, and keeping the jobs at home mostly.
Exactly.
And that's why he keeps on talking about the illegal aliens and all of that.
Yes.
So at this point of time, this is where we have reached. But what's next? Because the implications are major. Geopolitics is one thing, but as I keep on reiterating, geoeconomics is a broader aspect of it. Now tell me what happens next, because prices will rise everywhere, be it in Mexico, be it in Canada, be it in United States itself. So how do you see prices getting jacked up?
So up until now, we thought that these tariff threats are negotiating chip, but now this is official. He has signed an order. Although there are negotiations still happening with Canada and Mexico, but now these things are in the fine print. So for instance, a very well-known international economics professor was explaining this morning, Richard Baldwin. He wrote that, for instance, let's take a product, automobile. Much of the manufacturing of automobile happens in Mexico and Canada, and what happens in the US is just the assembly.
Ah.
Now, if tariffs are imposed on Canada and Mexico, they will become uncompetitive, and a lot of cars are going to come from Japan and Korea. So now and Germany. So now he will have an added incentive to prevent those cars from coming into US. So this is how tariffs have a knock-on effect. So that is why he's talking about imposing tariffs on European Union, because of these tariffs, others will have an advantage, and then he will have to prevent those products from coming in European Union.
Absolutely. There are a lot of signs on social media as well where, there are aisles and aisles of liquor in supermarts and all. And because of the impending price hike, there are already signboards and placards that have gone up in Canada that buy Canadian instead. At the same time, I want to talk money in the sense that how do you see the stock markets reacting to this?
Okay. So as far as the stock markets are concerned, they do not like uncertainty. That this is the first lesson you learn when you're studying stock markets. This is what every investor understands very well. The stock markets do not like uncertainty. And
Right.
what Trump is doing right now is creating a lot of uncertainty because we first thought that there might not be a retaliation. Some of the weaker economies compared to US might take those tariffs and try different means to negotiate with Trump. But it could be the political situation in Canada or in Mexico. Trudeau has decided to retaliate. European Union may also retaliate. China at the moment has not given out his its plan of action, but they might also retaliate. So these things create uncertainty because our world is much more globalized today than it ever was, and
Absolutely.
uh, any tariff on one country impacts other countries because there are parts, there are supply chains, and these things complicate. Tariffs complicate the whole structure.
Absolutely. I also want to ask you what happens to peso, yuan, and the Canadian dollar now with respect to the American dollar?
What we are seeing is all of the things that Trump is talking about is strengthening the dollar because the dollar inherently is seen as a safe haven asset.
Right.
So whenever there is uncertainty, people buy more and more dollar. So this is the trend that we could see. Dollar would in dollar the value of dollar will increase, and the value of peso or any other currency, including rupee, will you know weaken over time.
Absolutely. You mentioned about China, and like I said in the beginning of the conversation, that Canada has already retaliated. Mexico is weighing its options. China is surprisingly very quiet. Is this the lull before the storm? How are they bracing for impact?
China is the elephant in the room. China is one country that Trump tried to deal with in his first term but couldn't.
Yeah.
There was a tariff war that happened between US and China, but the result of the war, a lot of people a lot of experts say, was not in favor of US
Yeah.
because they both the countries were on the negotiating table, and US had said that China is supposed to buy about $200 billion of US products by the end of 2021.
Right.
China did not buy even half of it. So all of his antics, all of his negotiating tactics fell flat when it came to China.
Right.
So China is keeping the card very close,
Mm-hmm.
and we do not exactly know how China is planning to retaliate. But what we can say at the moment is China has decided to take US to WTO.
Hmm.
Everybody knows that WTO is not functional at the moment, but
Mhm.
it is perhaps a sign that they believe in the liberal world order and they perhaps want to replace US as one.
Absolutely. But it's not looking pretty. I think it will get ugly.
Of course, when it comes to China, Trump has an axe to grind. Not only that, this is one thing that he couldn't do in his first term.
Right.
The treasury secretary, the commerce secretary, everybody who Trump has hired
Hmm.
are China skeptics.
Mhm.
They do not have a easy tone on China. They have talked about tariffs multiple times. They have even talked about China being a currency manipulator. So
Mhm.
there are a lot of preparations that might be going on both the sides. We're yet to see what exactly happens, but there absolutely is a chance of a full-blown tariff war between US and China in the coming days.
Absolutely. And how do you see India featuring in all of this? If you had to cite one major advantage and one major disadvantage for India at this point, what would you say those be?
So I was talking to an exporter yesterday, and he said, he has a couple of plants, one in China and one in India.
Mhm.
There are a lot of orders coming in India only because of the fact that these tariff announcements have created a lot of uncertainty. US corporates do not want to risk all of their eggs in one basket. China is the manufacturing hub of the world. Those things are proven. Those things are there. But a significant diversion of investments, diversion of money is happening in China, and a portion of it might come to India. Of course, a lot of things. A lot of things are can kind of vary, because we have cut down our custom duties. We are trying to make our economy more attractive, but China has also prepared very well. We have seen that China has increased its influence in ASEAN region.
Right.
And ASEAN region has a lot of Chinese companies now. A lot of investments have gone there. So there's an increasing chance that more of Chinese manufacturing will spread in the ASEAN region, and through ASEAN might enter the United States.
Absolutely. These will have larger implications. Do you think somewhere that this sort of a trade war is short lived, and somewhere along the way, Trump will have to sort of eat crow and roll back the tariffs?
Before I get to that topic, we should know that Trump is using the emergency powers that are in the American Constitution, and he's using fentanyl and these things as excuses, because
Right.
these are the exact things where nobody would be able to question him on courts. Now, I mentioned fentanyl and the range of immigration issues that he had mentioned, because it gives us a sign that Trump is extremely serious and he doesn't want any objection on its side. He
Correct.
has a majority in Congress. He has a majority,
In both the houses.
better majority compared to the last time.
Yeah.
So that is why there is a good chance that he'll go through with the tariffs on European Union. He might not be bluffing. Now, this is where it becomes complicated. European Union is the largest custom union in the world. It is the largest trading partner of a lot of countries, including India. So if tariffs are imposed on China, there will be European Union. There will be major implications on India, only because inflation will go up in European Union, and Indian products. We export about 75 billion worth of goods to European Union,
Correct.
and those will become incompetitive. Their appetite to buy our products could go down, and that is a major risk. So, Mexico and Canada and China was one thing, but the tariff threat moving beyond these borders to European Union makes it a far larger implication for the world.
Absolutely. So it's mostly a wait and watch right now, more so after Canada and Mexico have retaliated, and what will China say next, and how India is positioned in amidst this entire trade war that has been triggered by US President Donald Trump just 2 weeks after his inauguration. That was Ravi Dutt Mishra with me. I'm Flora Swai, and you are watching the official YouTube channel of the Indian Express. Please stay tuned for more updates on the tariffs and Trump and the White House.